Welcome to the Political Matrix News. Politics, people, local, regional, national news. Political Matrix News keeps you informed. We have the sources, we have the truth from inside the political matrix. Back with the Political Matrix, I'm Rob Milford. Greg Fink joining us from Alachua County, Gainesville, Scott Miller in Escambia County, Pensacola. At least I assume it is, unless you built that beachfront mansion in Walton County or someplace else down there. Destin, you're on 30 or 38 kind of guy now?
That'd be great.
Oh no! My family's been in this area since 1840, so I don't see me moving anytime soon.
Yeah, well,
we're going for the record.
Jernigan, the only two people I know that are you and Steve Jernigan are the record holders. Sadly, he was blown away by his drunk cousin last year. Great American, terrific guy. Really enjoyed Steve a lot. All right, so the border. Florida, if you didn't think about it, and you probably don't, is a border state. We border on the Bahamas, on Cuba, and I was going to check the distance in the break between Key West and Cozumel or Cancun, and it's not as far as you think. It's only 555 miles from Pensacola to Cancun, and about a little less than that from Tallahassee, but not a lot less. So the border, it's a real mess in Texas. They messed with Texas and it's gotten worse. Texas Department of Public Safety, the Texas National Guard have set up in a park right on the river, the Rio Grande, in Eagle Pass, Texas. And that is the park where Little League Baseball is played. And Little League Baseball is supposed to open in about 2 weeks. And the headquarters for the Texas National Guard is somewhere between home and second base right now. They've got a bunch of tents, and nobody knows what the heck's going on. But the Texas National Guard is there to keep the U.S. Border Patrol and Immigration and Customs Enforcement from letting people come in the country. And Texas DPS keeps rolling out the concertina wire, which I think is their right. The president, on the other hand, is suing Governor Greg Abbott of Texas, and I believe the state of Texas is suing the president for not enforcing the laws of the United States. Gentlemen, your thoughts on that, Greg?
Well, I definitely think that is a issue that the state needs to be allowed to protect themselves. Period. I mean, I think it's interesting that this is the first time I've ever heard of a national leader tear down the wall that protects his border. I mean, most leaders are usually building walls and protecting their people. Mm-hmm. And this one here is actually going out of his way as a border patrol. He's basically trying to get the border patrol to pick a fight with the state guard over there in Texas, and I don't think they're going to go for it. I don't think at the end of the day, I think that the state guards are going to win out. I think all the other states, I think 25 states or 20 states have already come to Greg Abbott's defense about this. And I think, basically, we have Sleepy Joe here acting very sleepy on the border, and his Alzheimer's is basically getting the best of him, or his alleged Alzheimer's, or whatever he has going on with his mental capacity right now. It's got the best of him going with this whole idea of the border. I mean, he really is, trying to destroy this country with his border agenda. It's destroying our country 1 hour, 1 minute at a time. And this is
that was another last hour. There was another 1,000 immigrants coming across the border. I mean, there are still many hundreds of miles on the southern border that have nothing more than a 3 or 5 strand barbed wire fence. I mean,
15,000 a day is out of control.
Scott has better fencing on his land in Santa Rosa and Okaloosa County. Am I right, Scott?
Yeah, I have a better fence around pine trees that separates the pine trees from other pine trees, and it's really only there to establish a boundary line, and it's still better than what we have going on the southern border. I do have to say that I'm constantly entertained by the endless parade of sanctuary people who are complaining about how the Texas governor is out of control and he just needs to stop all this racist things. The most hilarious, the most entertaining thing for me on this entire fiasco has been when the governor of New York was putting out material telling the immigrants that New York is a very expensive city to live in. Perhaps you should look somewhere else if you want to live your American dream.
Exactly. I mean, I think all the other people are realizing And I think they're realizing that what Texas is going through, and I think that, I mean, it's got tough love a little bit. I mean, yes, I mean they're being sent to these cities and these other states, and they're realizing that the capacity that they're coming over, it's a miracle Texas is even still a state in all reality. I mean, they're basically filling up 15,000 people a day. It's a miracle they can even keep up with it, and at this stature that they're doing it. I mean, and people have to realize it's not just the South American and Latino people coming over the border, and it's 120 different countries being represented in
Right.
this huge swath of people coming over. We got people from Afghanistan, Ukraine, Russia, China. I mean, every basically industrialized and non-industrialized nation in the world almost is coming over, and they're all
Correct.
coming through that border area.
And
And
there's
so
no control.
people always want to stereotype it. They always say, "Oh, it's just the El Salvadors, or it's just the Guatemalans, or it's just Mexicans." So no, it's not. It's a very large swath of people that are coming over with numerous different nationalities, numerous different diseases, numerous different cultures, and we have no way of vetting it or making sure everything is safe. It's not
Right.
that we don't want to keep people out. I mean, America's a melting pot, but they're making America a salad bar. I mean, we are now a salad bar. We're a melting pot country. Everybody's supposed to assimilate and work together and
Yeah.
build and make it a better country. The way
Yeah.
it is right now, it's an a la carte salad bar, and that's what it
Absolutely.
is. And it needs to
Now,
be looked at totally differently and
now
handled totally differently.
the truth is not out there because the FBI will not investigate. The CIA report that I've seen, don't ask, just don't ask, talks about how many thousand young men, unaccompanied, Chinese, how many thousand Iranian, Arab of all sizes,
Hmm.
military age.
Exactly.
Now we're talking military age, 18 to 35, unaccompanied single guys come over. They're in good shape. They haven't been walking through the desert for three
Yeah, no
weeks
family.
with a horse with no name. They're looking good, like they got dropped off about 2 miles past your mama's house and are walking across. Texas, by the way, has the number I
Private
think
jet.
is 22 official legal border crossings. 22, that's more than the rest of the other three states, California, Arizona, and New Mexico have, because there's some, let me tell you, some really barren, doesn't support life areas when you get to West Texas and all the way
Right.
to San Diego. So Texas is way more than half the border, and they are taking in a huge number. And by the way, of those 20 so border crossings in Texas, four are railroads. Four are railroads, three are freeways. Four are freeways, and or freeway equivalent in Mexico. It's basically 4 lanes of pavement, and you go 100, and somebody steps in front of you. Oh, too bad. Um, so you're fighting these, and Texas is they're simply doing the best they can to survive, even in this post 9/11 world. Have people forgotten? I guess they have. I guess they really have.
Yeah, I
So it's got to
forgotten.
be interesting. I hope in his inaugural address, just a little less than 11 months away, that President Trump will say, I got 3 words for the border, and that's close the border right now. Okay, that's 5 words. And I got 3 more words for the oil industry in America: drill, baby, drill. That's all he has to say in his inaugural address. Then he turns around,
Exactly.
let's get to work. That's all he has to do. That should be his number one and his number two focus. And he should repeat the who said
And
that
that should be the
originally? Are
only
you
two
better off now than you
focuses.
were 4 years ago? Was that Reagan in '80? Must have been, right?
Hmm.
Okay, so he
Well,
should
yeah,
repeat that
that
line,
ought
right,
to
Scott?
always be our metric. That ought to always be our metric. But I'll tell you that one of the statistics that really struck me, and I was just trying to look up which state he was referring to, but it really doesn't matter because I'm pretty sure it was one of the northeastern states. But one of the senators was talking about how since Biden has taken president, he has been we've had more illegal immigrants than the population of several of our states, not combined, but any state. Especially a
Yeah,
northeastern state where there's a high capacity people. We've basically allowed an entire state of illegal immigrants to come in and take up residence in our country, and it's only
I
going to
think
be
they
a
said
matter of
eight
time.
million.
Well, think
Eight
about
million
this.
people is what they said.
yeah,
It's which is more than a lot of states actually, not just like
Alabama's 3 million.
Exactly, exactly. So it's a
Alabama,
lot of states.
Mississippi. There's a long, long list. I mean, the fact of the
Exactly.
matter is, and we discussed this in our rehearsal last week, there are more people in the St. Pete, Tampa, Lakeland, Orlando, Daytona Beach. That is called the I-4 corridor. There are more people in that area than there are in Iowa and New Hampshire put together. And yet, it's a big deal that there's an Iowa caucus and a New Hampshire primary. We want to come back and talk more about the presidency. That's enough on immigration right now. We'll be back in a minute with the Political Matrix.